President Trump today stunning the political world by seeming to believe denials from the king and crown prince of Saudi Arabia that they had anything to do with the mysterious disappearance and likely murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Before departing the White House for Florida this morning, Mr. Trump even seemed to parrot the Saudi line, saying it could be, quote, rogue killers who carried out the brazen operation that took place within Turkish borders.
The king firmly denied any knowledge of it. He didn't really know. Maybe, I don't want to get into his mind, but it sounded to me like maybe these could have been rogue killers. Who knows?
It's seemingly credulous language that we've heard from the president before when someone he wants to get along with has been accused of something quite awful, such as whether Vladimir Putin interfered in the 2016 election.
I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today.
Or whether his then staff secretary, Rob Porter, previously engaged in spousal abuse.
He says he's innocent, and I think you have to remember that. He said very strongly yesterday that he's innocent. So you'll have to talk to him about that.
Or whether a Senate candidate he endorsed once sexually assaulted teen girls.
Let me just tell you, Roy Moore denies it. That's all I can say. He denies it. And by the way, he totally denies it.
Or whether his campaign chair once engaged in financial crimes.
Manafort has totally denied it. He denied it.
And on and on. When it comes to the denials by the Saudis, however, Republican Senator Marco Rubio put it rather starkly.
So the only two things that could have happened is he's alive and somehow still in there, or he's dead and the Saudis are the ones who did it. There's no other explanation for it. Because if there was video of him leaving, they would have shown it by now.
Let's discuss with our experts. So President Trump perhaps is going to be given a hand where he came out and said it was rogue operators, and then the Saudis perhaps actually put that forward, and the rest of the world says, that's really hard to believe.
It is, but isn't it also disturbing to watch? Put the comments this morning together about rogue killers with Leslie Stahl's questioning of Trump about Putin killing the people in Skripal. He says, maybe rogue killers. Oh, no, it probably happened. Isn't there a missing degree of empathy there? Like, we're talking about people that have been murdered, and he doesn't care to express any sympathy for the family. We
have that sound. Let's play that. This is President Trump when asked about Russian President Vladimir Putin on 60 Minutes by Leslie Stahl.
Do you agree that Vladimir Putin is involved in assassinations, in poisonings?
Probably he is, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't... Probably, but I rely on them. It's not in our country.
Okay.
So it does seem to be important to him whether it happens in the United States or not.
The thing that's odd and disconcerting is that he's shrugging it off. I mean, there is a pattern here, and I think people should go take notice of the speech that he gave in Saudi Arabia when he went on his first trip abroad there. At the time, he was criticized because he broke with predecessors for not taking a stand on human rights. And he essentially went there at the Ritz-Carlton, where people were later imprisoned, and said, we're not going to lecture you. We're not going to tell you what to do or how to live. And everybody took notice on that. But I do think it is a part of his foreign policy. He's going to turn a blind eye to this as long as he can continue to advance his political and business goals. That's the thread that runs through all of this.
David, it does seem to be that he thinks, we can win or we can be good and stand up for human rights, but we can't do both. That does seem
look, I think it's obviously a false choice, right? It's a false narrative. You can do both. You can win at the same time do it. I think when the president talks about not in our country, right? I mean, I think what he's trying to get at is you're not going to be able to have 100% certainty because our FBI, our police, anybody can't get down to it. Look, we're never going to know with any degree of certainty what happened in the consulate in Saudi Arabia. We're not going to know. I mean, something bad happened.
If the iPhone tape comes out, we'll know.
Well, they're not going to. I mean, I've listened to some intelligence experts.
I mean, if we see the guy chopped up in body bags,
you're not going to find this. It would be out
why
there.
Not?
Already. It would be out there already if it was.
Maybe Jared can call his friend.
It would be out there already if it was. So you're not going to know with any degree of certainty. So I think that's what the president's talking about. We know something very bad happened there, and exactly what happened and transpired. You wouldn't know unless it occurred here in the United States, and our experts could tell you.
So take a listen to Leslie Stahl asking President Trump about Kim Jong-un and the fact that he has said, we fell in love. Mm-hmm. Take a listen.
He presides over a cruel kingdom of repression, gulags, starvation, reports that he had his half-brother assassinated, slave labor, public executions. This is a guy you love.
I know all these things. I mean, I'm not a baby. I know all these things.
But why do you love that guy?
Look. I get along with him, okay?
But you said love him.
Okay, that's just like a figure of speech.
No, it's like an embrace.
Well, let it be an embrace. Let it be whatever it is to get the job done.
He's a bad guy.
Let it be whatever it is to get the job done. He is saying, who cares what I say? I'm trying to eliminate the North Korean nuclear threat.
Well, we can put aside being disturbed about his love for a series of dictators, despots, and basically horrible human beings. The fact is, all of these people are manipulating him. Kim Jong-un is manipulating him. President Putin is manipulating him. They all want him to validate them to the rest of the world. They want the United States to validate North Korea's efforts, even though they've really done nothing. President Putin wants to return to the global community. President Trump is helping him do that. That is what is so sad and pathetic about this, is that he is being manipulated through this entire
I'm pretty sure the
process.
Russians, there's the largest NATO exercise going on right now in Norway. The U.S. is participating, the trident spear. Tip of the spear, this whole thing right now. I'm pretty sure the Russians don't feel the U.S. is welcoming them with open arms right now as we speak.
But the other thing is, what did he just say in all that?
He wants results, Joe. What are you talking about?
That stops any dictator, or that makes any dictator anywhere in the world think twice about doing more of it.
Because he said, I don't care.
Why do you think the Saudis thought they could get away? Why do you think the Saudis thought they could get away with this?
Really? You think that's why, Joe?
Because normally the president of the United States, or at least the United States, steps in and says enough and no, and they actually start to do something about it. This president never has.
This isn't
any of these
Joe,
people.
what president? Push the rewind tape. Show me a president in U.S. history that stood at 1600 Pennsylvania and condemned the Saudis.
It's an excellent point.
Wait.
Silence. Crickets at the table.
No.
Shocking.
Tell me when the Saudis have murdered somebody in a Turkish...
Right.
Joe, the Saudis have murdered people every day in Riyadh.
But not in NATO countries.
In the public square.
After the,
not in NATO member countries.
I think the point Joe is raising is really important, because
and my point is
the Saudis and others have been more on their heels in the past, because they knew there would be a movement to act by presidents of the United States of both parties prior to President Trump.
And this is the first time women were able to drive in Saudi Arabia. Restrictions being lifted.
And then a bunch of women activists were thrown in prison by MBS.
I'm saying this ruler's moving to the left as much as he can, helping Israel in the Middle East.
MBS? You're defending MBS?
I'm not defending it. I'm saying in terms of who's been out there, who's been
is
more pro-Western.